You're listening to the Let's Talk Marketing podcast, hosted by me, Katya Allison. So, what have you gotten yourself into? In short, a good time, great conversation, and a little bit of learning along the way. Through insightful interviews with top marketers, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders, I explore the latest trends, techniques, and strategies in the world of marketing. I'm here to offer you engaging and informative discussions to help you stay up to date on the latest trends and take your marketing skills to the next level. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to chat. Are you ready to listen? In today's episode, we are going to cover public relations with Bonnie Taylor, a true veteran in the marketing and communications industry. She has comprehensive experience across many sectors, including food and beverage, hospitality, and retail, and currently is partner and chief vice communications and strategy officer on the talent resources team. In her time, she's spearheaded the creation of the communications division, which has now become the agency of record for brands such as The Athlete's Foot, Jordan's Skinny Mixes, The Children's Place, Swanson WIO, and countless others. So basically, she knows her stuff, my friends. So listen up. Let's talk marketing with Bonnie Taylor.
Bonnie, welcome to the Let's Talk Marketing podcast. I'm really excited to have you on. You were a guest in my previous podcast. So I'm excited that you raised your hand as well too. And this one's going to be a little different. So I'm going to dive right into getting to know you a little bit better. And we've got our semi rapid fire questions because I'm going to allow for space for us to talk in between all of the questions. Are you ready for it?
I am so ready.
Fantastic. So, what was your first marketing role?
My very first official marketing job was I was a promoter for a nightclub in Las Vegas. A little
Nice.
crazy. Yes. I got to hear everything and I was constantly learning how to pitch and get people involved and get guest lists built, sell tables and stuff very quickly.
I love it. And I probably should have led with the fact that we're even going to be talking about PR today. That's our strategy. That's our Let's Talk Marketing strategy today. So I apologize for that. But I want to mention it now because I think that next question is what is your current marketing role or what is your current role right now? I'd like to see the growth of all of that.
And so I am a newly named partner and chief communications and strategy officer at Talent Resources.
What does that mean? Yeah, I know. What does that mean?
I basically oversee the entire strategy of forward thinking direction of the agency, everything that we're doing across all divisions. And then I also I created and I lead our entire PR division. So all of our retainer clients, all of the pitching new business, any of our venture deals. So anything that's externally coming from the agency plus our internal comms is something that I have my hands on all of it.
I love it. And I know that you've got some really great news as well too to share in regards to like your current position and where you guys are at.
Yeah, so we were just named by the Financial Times the top 500 fastest growing companies for 2023. And it was an award that is so passionate to me because they look at 2018 numbers versus 2021 numbers, that comparative growth. I started with
Yeah.
this in 2020. And right away when I started, I kickstarted the PR division, which has now grown to a seven-figure net revenue business, amazing retainer clients, building major brands. So to see the strategic shift of the mindset, the growth of our company from 2018, where I was a client of Talent Resources, to now
Yeah.
I've been involved. We've re-strategized, we've reconfigured, have a clear cut definition of where we want to go and what we're doing,
Yeah.
and see that positive growth. And the trajectory is insane. And then watching the numbers since then have just skyrocketed.
First of all, congratulations. Second of all, I love that there was that amount of growth in the season of COVID, which I don't know if we say we're post pandemic or not, just because we're all out and about because it is still there. But I also think, like, from a PR perspective, that's huge to see that something grew in a time where I don't know, there were a lot of different areas that grew. So it was really interesting that PR was an area, especially for the group, that not only you started, but you grew. Like it wasn't a stagnant thing. So that's phenomenal.
It was one of those things where I came in with a different mindset. I watched what every other PR agency was facing, right? They're asking staff to take pay cuts. They were doing layoffs. They were holding clients to 12-month retainer contract. The clients couldn't pay because of what was happening in the world. So
Yeah.
I came in with a very different perspective and said, let's start taking on project basis 3 months at a clip, 3, 6, 12. Like we're there when you need us. We'll pull back when we're not. And that kind of took off. And we do have a lot of 12-month retainer clients, but we have some clients that are like based on marketing budget. All right, let's sign 6 months at a time and then review. But we want to be that true extension of their marketing team. We want to be that strategic partner that is there, can help, and can provide a multitude of services, whatever they may need. So I may have a PR client, but they're like, hey, our graphic designer's out sick. Can your designer help it? Yeah, I've got you. I bring in the influencer team, our experiential events team, our media buyer. Our in-house social team. We truly want to
Yeah.
be that asset in that org because there's so much uncertainty. We never know what's going to happen. I have a bank client that's dealing with some crazy uncertainty right now. And it's how can we be the best partner for you in the physical moment?
I love that. And I also think like when it comes to PR, and we'll dive into this into the strategy part. This is why I created these questions so we could get to know you. I should just put my question on the shelf so that we don't skip ahead. Okay, let's talk about what do you love about what you do? What do you love about it? But also opposite, what would you pluck out of it? So first, what do you love about what you do?
I love the energy, right? I have built a team of experts in the industry. I have two people, my two directors each own their own PR agencies that are now working for me on East Coast and West Coast. So I love the seniority. I love that we get to be super creative and can make magic happen. And when we see results, to be able to take a crazy idea, execute it, secure the coverage, and then drive revenue for the client, like to me, I love it. It's such a high for me. Like it's just like planning events, right? We plan an event, you plan
Yeah.
months, activate, you walk away and you see those hits and you're like, wow, we did this. I love it.
It's cathartic almost, right? Or like a good CrossFit, good cross. Not that I've ever done CrossFit, but I've seen it on social media and it looks intense. What would you pluck out of it?
So I think it's the perception of PR, right? What we do is all earned
Mm,
and it's earned versus paid, right? So when we're in a new business pitch and a lot of people don't, they're always, I know I need PR. They don't understand how many placements are you going to guarantee or how many this. And they go, no, earned media, and I will never put this in a contract because public relations, by definition, is earned coverage. If you want to pay to place, that becomes an advertorial, and that's advertising. One part for me that is really, I feel like I'm constantly educating and dispelling some of these myths about PR because what we do is it's relationships. They are proprietary relationships with media. We are talking to them all the time. What stories are you writing? What are we doing? We're reconfiguring our pitch angles to make sure that our clients are putting their best foot forward. So I think it's hard when you get on a call and you're so excited about a brand and the opportunity to pitch them the business. And they're like, what's my guaranteed ROI? And I was like, if you want guaranteed ROI, let me introduce you to my paid media specialist because she's going to,
yeah,
or influencer, same thing. By placing, securing that influencer, they're going to have the product, they're going to get X amount of impressions. We know the engagement rate, it's guaranteed. PR is not guaranteed. So that's the
yeah.
tricky downfall of what we do.
I kind of like that hot topic of influencers guaranteed because I think so often it's not always guaranteed. And that's where people aren't able to double down and say, oh, let's do that. But it's the same when it comes to PR. And we will definitely dive into that because I feel so strongly about that as well, too. When you can't directly attribute that one thing, then you are left like then now part of the job as a marketer is having to educate on what your domain is. So it's an uphill battle, and luckily you love it, which is fantastic. Now let's talk social media. What are your go to social media networks for inspiration, entertainment, and education? Not sure if they're all the same. I know for me, it's a mixed bag and it depends on the day that you ask me. So, what's your go to social media network as far as like inspiration? Where do you go for inspiration?
Ooh. So I feel like I'm a kind of a hybrid because I have the same apps on my phone and I'm checking them for different reasons at different times. So
Yeah.
I love how people story tell on Facebook and they send messages and you go this. I love that people are not afraid to write how they're feeling. Same thing as LinkedIn. People have become a little bit more robust with how they're expressing themselves and their opinions and leadership. So I love to dive into that to see who's excelling in the industry, what are trends, what difficulties are other people who work in agencies navigating and with their clients and experiences. So for me, like Facebook and LinkedIn, it's almost I get similar vibes from those because I'm also in a
Yeah.
lot of professional groups on Facebook don't exist in some of these other platforms. Yeah. So entertainment wise, I am constantly down TikTok rabbit holes. I
Same.
them, got my friends compare. That's what we do. I love Instagram because I love the content. I love watching feeds. I love how watching feeds change. I love how people engaging on Instagram. What is growing? What is the trend? TikTok has been fun to just play. Like I'm very much a voyeur of TikTok is how I view it. And I'll post like
Yeah.
randomly. And I've had some things take off a little bit. And I'm just like surprised when they do. But usually I'm posting with my kids. Like we did the fruit roll up challenge the other day. And
I love it.
and, like, I was like, "Oh, all these people, like, think it's as funny as I do. Okay." Like, my kid is funny. But I love that piece. It's just, like, the pure entertainment that it's you're scrolling and you don't realize it's been an hour. You're like, "Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's time for bed."
Yes, absolutely. It's also not a heavy commitment as well too. Like it's so great if you have 5-10 minutes, right? Or if you're just trying to, if you're waiting for something to load on your computer, if you're waiting in line, it's like the best. Now, where do you go to for some education?
So, I am definitely diving into the deep world of podcasts, right? For me,
Mhm.
I love, love, love to listen to podcasts. So, a lot of times I'll be looking at recommendations, like, in some of these Facebook groups that I'm in or something for, like, where to go. So, but
Yeah.
LinkedIn for sure is definitely an education piece. I am a member of certain professional organizations, and I find that we have a hub on LinkedIn. There's constant conversations. Here's what to do. Here's the
Yeah.
thought. And it opens my eyes a lot of times for shifting perspective of, or this person changes, like, why? Like, what are you doing? What are you looking for? What happened? What was the resonance? Like, why did you do it? So I find I get
Yeah.
my why from like the LinkedIn storytelling and Facebook professional groups.
And I love that you said also podcasts as well. It's the whole reason that I wanted to do the podcast to begin with, right? Because we're all getting inspiration, education, and entertainment from one another. And if we can walk away with a nugget, that's a total win. I love that. And then the final question in getting to know you, how do you stay up to date on trends? I would imagine for PR, you also have to be constantly like, your mind has to be a constant RS speed, is what I would assume.
Yeah. So all of my friends look at me be like, what's going on in the celebrity world? What's this? I think it's I've been a pop culture junkie since I was a child. I just love everything. So I am constantly watching every show. I'm watching every trend. My husband laughs at me because we couldn't be more polar opposite. And I have like a subscription to every paid TV channel. I am scrolling all day long. I go in those rabbit holes. I want to know what's happening, where it's happening. I think it's the inquisitive nature of myself that I studied criminal justice and I love investigation techniques and I'm like, I
Yeah.
know everything. I love being this kind of like resource of pop culture for my friends, but it also when I see something that I know my team can run with, I'll be like to the talent division, hey, heard about this rumor. What do you guys think about it? What are you seeing? My second week on the job, Cheer had just come out on Netflix. And I was like,
Mhm.
you don't understand. I really think there's something here. I think we need to find out. Immediately, our talent team connected with the cast members, and we were able to close the deal with some clients like within 2.5 weeks. So it's about
Amazing.
jumping on in that moment and the cultural relevancy and kind of having that vibe of who's going to take off. I don't know. It's like a gut feeling for me, but I have this obsession and I can't help it.
So it sounds like you go down the social media rabbit hole across networks and then like really keen on like your streaming services. It sounds like too to know where it could potentially pop, what it could potentially hit. And I think Netflix, especially right now, Hulu somewhat, but really Netflix has it so dialed in. And the people that are also leveraging influencers to maximize the shows on Netflix. I feel
Mhm.
like that's a whole podcast episode
Oh, yeah.
all in
Go
and
there. 'Cause
of
it's
itself. It
crazy.
is.
But, like, I met the creator of the platform Facts, which is, like, the new TMZ, and connected with
Uh-huh.
Nick. We ran in circles years ago together, but then reconnected at Super Bowl and saw what one post of his with this influencer who showed up at our party, our Rolling Stone event, and it went insane and went everywhere, and then it crossed over and there's Reddit boards about this, and I'm like, "Whoa, okay." Those real time on my phone, it's like I have Facts, TMZ, and the E-Online app, the E-News, and I'm checking those all day long.
Oh my God, I'm going to write it down and those are going to be my new apps there. This is how I'm going to stay up to date. Every conversation we have moving forward will be like an RSS feed as well too. An RSS feed review. Okay,
100%.
so let's dive into let's talk marketing. Let's talk PR. So how would you say PR has really evolved in the time that you've just been in the industry? I would imagine like with influencers like you just spoke about, like it looks different. I went to school and my degrees, and that wasn't the end of the story. I went to school. That's I'm sure you're pretty proud of me as well, along with my parents. But my degree's in PR and so vastly different. Even 2 years after I graduated, it was so vastly different. And now with the world of digital media, I would imagine you've seen an incredible evolution. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the one thing that's never changed from day one of PR is relationships. PR is about personal relationships and connecting with the reporters, with the editors to know what their beat is, what they want, and pitching them effectively. I feel like if anything were to stay the same, that's the old faithful, right? It's really about
Yeah.
knowing how to make their life easier. That's how I view it. I remember my first PR job was photocopying clips to bind an actual clip binder because that had to be say, delivered to a client or mailed to the client. They needed a physical clip book. And you think about it now and you're like, oh my God, like the amounts of paper
What?
read you should go through and have binding materials to press it. And it was like you had to deliver that book and they needed that big thump on the boardroom table to show that you had a successful wow. Now my creative
Yeah.
Canva decks as our recaps. And we're putting clips and we're putting in the links. And it's here, click this, and here's your impression, and here's your data value. As media houses are closing and publications are went from weekly to monthly to quarterly, think about that. The value of their impressions on a physical print piece has significantly declined, where a digital
Yeah.
has boomed. How many people do you know that had a subscription to, for example, like the New York Times, that are now like, oh, I only get the Sunday issue. Oh, never mind. I get everything online. I pay my $20 a month and I get everything served to me that way and I can digest it as I
Yeah.
want. The forms of media completely shifted. Print is
Yeah.
phasing out. And some people still love the satisfaction, the old school mentality of the glossy, no, I need to have that. But I'm like, I'd rather get you a digital story that's going to be shared and syndicated across multiple verticals. And then your impressions are through the roof and you've got millions of impressions now versus that one print publication may only be like 25K impressions. Same story.
That's so true. I want to talk about if I'm a brand or a company or whatnot, and I'm like, oh, I really need PR. I really need PR. What should I be asking? What are the questions I should be asking to find like the right agency? Because I've been a part of a lot of organizations and PR is always part of the conversation. But I
Mhm.
feel like you go out there and you talk to so many different agencies, like you're either educating them on who you are. So, like for me, I've always find one that is in your niche because I would imagine there are agencies that are within the different niches so that you don't have to like educate them in every single like weekly, bi-weekly meeting and whatnot. So what are the questions I should be asking if I want to implement PR as a strategy?
So I think there's a couple ways that I look at it. Number one, you have to have a genuine, real, upfront conversation and be prepared to be transparent about your business. There is nothing worse than when
Okay.
you meet a client and then we find out, oh, we have a lawsuit. Oh, we have pending litigation. Oh, we didn't get approved for that. And oh, this investor is pulling out. So I think knowing that when you find a valued partner, transparency is key because we can't help you genuinely move the needle of your business and drive revenue if you're not telling the entire story. We can't put together
Yeah.
a solid plan if you're hiding those. So I think it's when you're on your search, be prepared. Like we're going to have to become an open book. And if you're not ready, or who is the right spokesperson? Do we have a spokesperson within the organization that can speak about us confidently and
Yeah.
clearly? Or do we need to hire a spokesperson, media train them, message point, which is like where you see the celebrity and the influencer integrations come in. So
Yeah.
there's the internal work that has to be done first to know that, yes, I'm ready to take this next step. Are you ready for your story to be told or your
Now,
product?
how I and that is such good advice as well too. It seems like it would be a really obvious thing, but I also have been it's not always as obvious. I think there is this misconception that PR, I'm going to get on New York Times. That's not a really great example, but let's say I'm going to be on Vogue. If I'm a fashion brand, I want to be on Vogue. Let's get PR and they're going to get me there because just get me there. But I would imagine there's work that's leading up to it. So, what would a brand do, or what could a brand expect when they first hire like a PR agency?
Yeah.
Like transparent, and I am being transparent, right? So, I am being transparent. This is where I want to go. I want to be on the cover of Vogue magazine. A very pipe dream and it's not real. But like, is that the type of conversation I should be having? I'm transparent, but should I tell you what my end game is? And then you develop a plan to get me there? Is that typically the way it works? Or tell me.
Yeah, kickoff conversation for us is, who is your dream publication? What publications do you hate, or have they written poorly about you in the past? Or what editors have you had a negative experience about that hasn't reviewed your product? Like maybe you never actually sent them your product. They heard about it, they mentioned it, and they didn't like it. So we need
Yeah.
to go both ways and develop that path to get there. And I think it's every agency will tell you where their strengths and weaknesses are, right? Like will always we're very clear, which is why I've hired experts in several different verticals. There's some people
Yeah.
that they're just a beauty PR agency. They're just a CPG agency. They're just a hospitality. They're just tech. So I think it's really about, what I love to say for us is we are the extension. We have verticals because I do have an expert in each space that has that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really important also, if you feel like you need somebody who's in your geographic location, you want them to come to your office for meetings. You don't want to pay the travel. Finding somebody there. And now I think people are more open, right? Like I was on a call yesterday with our clients in Israel. I'm not going to Israel every week, but I know what target market you're looking to drive revenue for is
Yeah.
in the US. And I have team members there that can be physical, present on the ground. So I think it's really, you have to ask the agency, where are your relationships? Where do you see us? What do you think we can do? And what success have you had? I'm very specific on case studies need to be shown to prospective clients. You need to see our work. You need to see
Yeah.
real time work. So we're constantly updating our case studies. So it's not clips of like, yeah, this was a great hit that we did something 3 years ago. What did you do last month? What is your end month recap for them? What are you seeing in real time? Because it's great to have had that New York Times, right? The Forbes 30 under 30 piece. Great to have it. But what are you doing now? How are you navigating real time? So I think it's asking for current updated decks, real time case studies. If you were to even throw an example, send us what a pitch would look like. It's okay to
Yeah.
ask for the work. Now, people aren't going to give you without some kind of deposit or signed NDA or anything like some kind of plan. But it's okay because if this person's going to truly, PR is your arm, your spokesperson, you're talking, they are brand advocates for you. You have to
Yeah.
feel that they truly are the right ambassador for you.
And that makes sense. You said something about end of month recaps. I'd like to know what should be in my end of month recap because one of the things that I think is a misconception is okay, it's the number of earned media spots I've received, which that is a metric, I'm sure. If I was quoted, if the whole article is about, I would imagine there's like a weight. So what do you think is like the best kind of recap to show or prove out the success of your PR initiatives?
Yeah, so our recaps are really strategic. We talk about all the work we did in the last month, plus we go forward thinking. So all of the pitches that we put together, here's the pitch that went out. Did it warrant any results? Any or media is something scheduled. There's that piece. If we put a press release over the wire, so we tell you, like you paid for that to go over the wire. Here's the pickup that's associated with it, the anticipated media value. So we always go
Yeah.
your traditional earned, any syndicated coverage, and then we also go forward thinking pitches, like what's happening next month? What can you anticipate or expect from us? What media is scheduled? What interviews are in there? So it really is that 360 perspective. What did we do? How did we do it? And what are we doing going forward?
And in the what are we doing going forward? Because I would anticipate that my relationship with the PR agency of record, right, would be one that's staying on top of like the news. If I'm a beauty brand, you're the one that's telling me this is what people are talking about, not me telling you, hey, this is what I want to talk about. Or I don't know, is there a mix in between? Is there a nice recipe for this?
It's a happy hybrid is probably the right way to say it. So we look at all of our
Okay.
client strategic marketing calendars and we sit down, what offers are you going to be sending out? What product are you highlighting? What product are you launching? Or what new retailers are you going to be featured in? Is there an Amazon special? Are you doing a talk shop live? What's happening in their cadence? And then we also like PR loves a good hook. So we look at those
Yes.
holiday it's calendars, those bizarre holidays, those random days. I think it was last year we were like, oh my God, National Waffle Day is coming out. Our client is Jordan Skinny Mixes and we're gonna have waffle, pumpkin waffle syrup. And we're like, let's put a promo together on this. We ended up getting it placed because a New York Times feature was doing a roundup or it was one of the public, but it was like they're doing a round of a national waffle day. And what are all the offers that are happening? And it was like Waffle House has this, IHOP has this. And we're like, there's Jordan skinny mixes, and you can buy this product with this. So it's staying on top of what's coming up, what are trending in the month, right? We're also knowing that those crazy big holidays, the Valentine's Days, the Black Fridays, those we're typically pitching those anywhere from 3 to 6 months out ahead of time. So I always joke that like May, we're wrapping up and we're pitching summer. We're pitching back to school. So we have to look at long lead. We have to forward think. We have to project. We have to push our clients going, hey, listen, this is going to come up. Do you have your offers? What are you going to be focused on? What are you trying to push? What needs to resonate? All of it has to be buttoned up. So a lot of times I feel like we're almost driving the internal teams because we need those deliverables ahead of time.
That makes sense. I do have, because I know that we talk about influencers, and in the previous podcast, we had talked about like the amplification of influencers and the balance of influencer and PR. So, can you dive into a little bit of like how do influencers work with PR effort?
Yeah. So it can be as simple as they're posting a picture and we're taking that picture that they're also posting in feed and pitching it out and trying to get it placed. One of our clients, there's a story that I think it ran in OK yesterday. It was a photo of them on this scooter, and we pitched
Yeah.
them. Here was this seen on their Instagram. Here's how you can buy it, and here's what the offer is. So we're extending the life of an influencer campaign. A lot of times when our talent team is negotiating that deal, they also will put in usage for PR services and amplification,
Nice.
not just staying online. We want the ability to take that photo and go everywhere with it because depending on who your target audience is, they may not be on Instagram, right? If they're skewing older, they may be on
Yeah.
Facebook. That's not going to post, but that talent may still resonate with them. We need to put it in all the publications that would see it. It does go hand in hand. A lot of times the influencers are ambassadors and they're doing interviews. Another one of our
Uh-huh.
children's plays, Jamboree, we've done campaigns now with Mandy Moore. Our talent team was able to secure Mandy for it. We then secured the interview with E News that's broken out into 3 segments. Mandy has this whole social component. So it really is a 360 campaign, and PRs
Yeah.
amplify at each touch point.
Yeah, that to me is the most it's one of the most fascinating things, and I think it's it undervalues influencers and the impact that both PR and influencers can make when you connect them together. And what I also really appreciate about your approach, and I've come to this conclusion based on our multiple conversations with one another, is that there is not anything that goes by. Like you do not leave any stone unturned, it seems. Like there could be potential here, there could be potential here. Maybe I could see it here. Like, how fantastic for you to be really the agency of record for any brand that you have signed on. Because I think that's what you want. You want a partner that's going to be like, no, this is what I can do for you. There are the obvious things that you can do that I think everybody really wants to do. And then you've got someone that's like truly in it to win it. It sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. And I don't know, I feel like you give off that energy. So I appreciate that.
And I think that's authenticity, right? Like I will only
Yeah.
represent clients and brands that I love and am passionate about and I get excited about. And I've been pitched things before and I've had to have the conversation with our CEO going, this is not a fit for us because if I can't get excited about it, I'm not gonna be able to get my team excited about it. It's not gonna resonate.
Yeah.
So I think it's that
Yeah.
mutual, it's dating, right? Like you got to make sure you're finding the right fit. Do you like each other?
Yeah.
And knowing what's the call or who's going to call next? What's the follow up? But it's a relationship and it's a working relationship and it's a friendship. And that's why I say a lot of my clients have become such good friends because we have that ability to have real conversations. I can have the difficult conversations with them when they need to have it. I can have the matter of fact, hey, listen, here's what's happening in your competitive space. Or if you want to work with talent, here's who other people are working in that space if
Yeah.
you want to compete. And I think I grew up in New Jersey and I think it's like my filter. Like I'm gonna be transparent. I can't sugarcoat things. I need to be matter of fact because I don't want to waste time. In marketing and
Yeah.
PR, you cannot waste time. Time is your biggest enemy.
Yeah.
Have to be the like innovative and moving fast. You have to be 10 steps ahead of everybody else to push through.
Yeah. Oh man. You'd really talk forever on this, and I'm mindful of the time. And I have one final question for you. And this was our final leaving people with a nugget If you knew then what you know now, what's the marketing advice that you give to yourself?
Pay attention to everything and absorb it all. And that is my biggest thing because where my career path, I say it's been a roller coaster, right? I never thought
Yeah.
I was going to end up where I was. Once I started working, I went in house for a little bit, saw that wasn't fit for me. I bounced around to different agencies. I relocated to the East Coast and I needed to find my fit. And I was staying super passionate, but I was always watching everything going on around me. Like I said, I was a client of Talent Resources for almost 5 years before, how they work. My current CEO, he will jokingly say I was the toughest client they ever had because I was fighting for the budget, knew the talent I wanted, knew what I wanted out of it.
Yeah.
I watched and observed absolutely everything and everything that they were doing. And then when it was time for me to think about making the move, I knew what I wanted and I knew where I wanted to go. And then I was able to evolve it. But it's you have to be hyper aware and put yourself out there. If you stay in this little shell, like you're gonna miss things. And I think it's
Yeah.
not being afraid, right? Like I will go to events by myself because I want to hear lectures. I want to hear speakers. I want to see how brands are activating. What are they doing in that space? So it's take it all in. I think I was very lucky to be exposed and challenged. My first PR job, my boss said, I'm firing the PR agency tomorrow. I need you to learn it. And I was not professionally trained in PR. Sat down with some powerhouses who taught me the ins and outs of how to do it,
Yeah.
what to do. So I think it's really, had I not been so observant of what other people were doing and how they were doing it, I don't think I would have been as successful. And I've been as personable and relatable because I've been in their shoes. I know what
Yeah.
we struck down. I understand when media hangs the phone up on me because they don't want to talk to me because they're on deadline. I think that's my number one piece of advice. Watch everything and trust your gut and be passionate about it because it's got me where I am. And I can say I genuinely love my job. I love my team. I love where our agency is going. 5 years ago, I don't think I would have thought this is where I am and this is where I'm going to end up.
Yeah.
And it's been a ride. Like I love it.
That's great advice. I do think like if you try to set up your path and then it doesn't go your way, that's a whole other battle. Whereas like your approach in your advice is really being open minded. And I really, really love that you said, I go to an event by myself. Don't be afraid of doing that. That's so key. So you don't know anybody. That's okay. There are tons of people that don't know each other. Everyone's just acting like they all know each other. We all just want to make a friend. That's really essentially what it is. So, great advice to leave us with. I have absolutely enjoyed our conversation. I could probably talk to you for 30 more minutes down the PR rabbit hole, but I think that you left us with some really great nuggets and some tips on really how to leverage PR as part of your marketing strategy. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Oh my God. Thank you for having me. I love this. I love our conversation.
Same. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. What a great conversation with Bonnie. I wanted to share some takeaways from the episode. So, for this episode, I have three key takeaways. Number one, despite the changes in the media landscape, the core of PR remains the same. And that's really building relationships. That can be with reporters and editors so that you can effectively pitch stories that make their lives easier. While the tools and the methods have changed, like for instance, there are no more fax machines. Yes, I've completely dated myself with that reference, but it's true. The value of relationship has grown to be even more important. Key takeaway number two, when looking for a PR agency, it's really going to be essential to be transparent about your business and its challenges, whether it's something not so comfortable like pending litigation or an uncertain future. You got to take the good with the bad. Only then can a PR agency create a plan that genuinely moves the needle for your business and drives revenue. Number three, a successful PR strategy is not just about getting your brand featured in high profile publications like Vogue or the New York Times. It's about the work leading up to the moment, building a strong story and message, and ensuring that you have the right spokesperson to deliver that message is key. Investing in these foundational pieces, brands can really position themselves for success. I would love to hear what nuggets of insights you walked away with from today's episode. Subscribe and follow on LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to podcasts. A special thank you to my podcast producers, the amazing team at Content Allies. Let me know if you want any more information on them. Check out the episode page to learn more about Bonnie and how you can get in touch with me. Thanks so much for spending your time with me today. Until next time, may the conversation flow, the laughter linger, and the outlook remain optimistic but grounded in reality. This is Katya signing off.